Ready? And action. Hey guys, it's me, Jada, your host, and this is our special guest, my long term friend, ex college roommate, Mary. And she's here to talk with us about self esteem, self love, and self care. So let's talk about it.
Thank you for having me.
So I just want to talk about like self-esteem and self-care and self-love. I feel like they're all kind of intermingled and interrelated. But how would you define self-esteem like in your own words?
I would say that self-esteem is like how you feel about yourself.
Yeah, I feel like I'm like the same way. Like it's really just like your own image, regardless of like how other people from the outside look at you.
Like your own personal opinion of yourself.
Yeah, and I feel like it's weird because I feel like even though it's like your own opinion, I feel like outside people still have an influence on it.
Yeah, that's true.
Unfortunately. Like, do you feel like when it comes to like your own self esteem that I don't know, like what do you think played a part in like how you view yourself? Like are you in a place where like you don't really care about what other people think? Or are you still kind of working on that? Like where are you at?
I think I'm like in the middle to where I felt like I did really care a lot about like what outsiders and like people in my daily life had to say, but it didn't really like do me justice. So I feel like now. But I just feel like you have to like take matters into your own hands and really do the work yourself in order to like recreate those feelings. Like for example, you ever heard like when they say like when you're growing up, if you hear a certain phrase, like that's what's ingrained in your mind. So when you grow up, you like start thinking it. But if you want to change it, you have to say it to yourself more times to like rework your brain and like how you perceive yourself. So I feel like that's like the point where I'm at now. And it's gotten better. And like I feel like it's not all the way there, if that makes sense. Like it's still a work in progress.
Yeah, I agree. Like I feel like I know like a lot of stuff comes from childhood. Like as much as you try to like explain it away or try to rationalize in your head, it all comes back to the childhood and like how things impacted you. And I know like just doing self reflection and stuff as I gotten older, like I find a lot of times I'm like realizing like stuff had a lot bigger impact on me than I thought it did.
Right.
At the time. Like at the time I was like, oh, it's not that big of a deal, it's not whatever. But then now looking back, hindsight, like that kind of influenced the way that I think about myself or like how I deal with certain people or how I react to certain people. And it's just kind of like, well, duh, it actually did affect you. You actually did feel some type of way. You don't have to like act like it didn't bother you because it did, and it's affecting you now, and you can see it now. Right. So I don't know. Do you feel like is there anything that you can think of like an event or like a time where you can think of like, oh, I really downplayed this when it happened, but now looking back, I'm like, that was actually a pretty big deal.
A lot of things. I'm trying to think of one that's like not as serious. I know one thing I had to like work on was in high school. I was like, in my opinion, the best of the best. Like I was very smart. I was in all these high clubs. I graduated summa cum laude. I was like very involved in school. Like people knew me as like, oh, you're just a very smart girl. Like that's like what you're about. I never played sports, so it was kind of like I had what's the word? Internalized that. So when I got to college, I remember that was a struggle for me because I had kind of like had an identity in being so smart and being like top of the class and like to being you're just a regular juggler. Like you go to class like everybody go to class. Yeah. You in a class with 50 people and there is no like standing out or a lot of people don't know you or you have to like mingle. So that was, I want to say, a big change where I had to like kind of build myself up because I didn't feel as smart because of how I felt in high school. I had like strong self-esteem, you know, with my academics, stuff like that. And to go to college, I just kind of like
smack in the face, man.
You one of thousands
Literally.
at this point.
Nothing
so it's like, how you're special.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, no, like people don't be, I'm married. Like I'm the smart one.
Yeah.
Like, so that I can say has been one thing that I had to like work on. My self-esteem.
I feel like that's common too. Because like I kind of had like a similar experience with that. Like, you know, always getting good grades. Like I wouldn't say I like I feel like where we differ is like I always thought like I was smart. Like that's one thing about me. Like I'm very humble, but sometimes I'm too humble, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes I don't give myself enough credit for like the hard work that I put in. So like even in high school, like I held myself to a standard of like, okay, you need to make good grades, you need to do all your stuff and get it done on time and all that. But I didn't like hold myself to that standard of being like, I was like, you're not the best of the best. Like you can't be all that. Like you're not all that. Like, and I feel like that's a healthy thing to do. Like, you know, hype yourself up, but I just didn't do that. So I was like, personally, I was like, okay, you need to make sure you're doing this, this, and that. And I did do sports, and I did well academically, but I always knew like I wasn't top of the class. Like we had a really big class. It was like
y'all did have a very big class.
400 something, almost 500 people in our class. Like I was, like I was summa cum laude, whatever, but I wasn't like top 10, top 20, whatever. It was no.
Right.
So one of the issues that I faced, like once I got to my senior year, like we had to do like either AP stats or AP calc or something like that.
I took AP stats.
I was like, no, I can't do the letters and all that crap. I don't want to do word stuff. So I did AP calc. The teacher I had, bro, she was a nice lady, but she was not a great teacher. And when I tell you I struggled so bad, like I literally had gotten like straight A's, and the lowest I ever got in was like a B all the way into my senior year.
Mm-hmm.
That class, I was afraid I was not going to make it.
Really?
Yes. Like I think I got...
I don't even remember what I got at AP stats.
I think I got my first C. I was
so
mine
upset. Might have been a C.
That was my first
AP stats. It was senior year. And I was like, I had senioritis. I was like, I'm ready to go.
Bro, I was so done.
But I did take AP Psych.
Yeah.
And I did do really well in AP Psych. So that kind of like helped boost a little, you know.
Yeah.
I did really good in AP Psych.
I feel like
I had a good teacher also as well.
I feel like the teacher makes or breaks it. Because like also, I feel like people don't think about how much a teacher can impact your self-esteem too.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you might feel like if you're falling behind, like, oh, I'm just dumb or I don't get it and da. When really you might not be learning in the same way that other people do. Right. Or maybe you have other stuff going on. You're human. You have stuff going on in your life. You have other things going on too. And I think if that teacher is a good teacher, not only in how they're teaching, whatever the subject matter is, but like interpersonally, they can kind of catch up, like pick up on that and like kind of dedicate a little time to like, hey, maybe you can come after class or come during lunch or something to go over stuff, like, and help you to kind of understand that it's not that there's something wrong with you, that it's just maybe I need to teach you a different way. Maybe you need to learn a different way. And I feel like now more so than ever, we have come to understand that, especially you knowing it, like actually in the education area. But like,
right, I was about to say I try to do that a lot with my kids because you know I tell my kids no, they're wrong. Like, I do, and that they teach us that like observations. Yes,
to tell them that
yes, you should not tell your kids. Yes, that is right. What color is the sky? Purple. You are absolutely correct, Johnny. No. If Johnny had 4 apples.
Johnny had 4 apples.
Like, 4 plus, right. The answer's 2. Oh my God, Johnny. Like, no. So I tell my kids no. Like, or I say, like, not quite. I think it's not like, no, you're wrong. And like, you'll hear, like, a couple of my kids say, like, oh yeah, I'm dumb. Or like, oh yeah, like, that was stupid of me. And I'm like, let's not say those words. So even like trying to catch up while they're young too, because I realized how much of an impact like older people had on me. Mm-hmm. So I try to be mindful of that with my students.
Yeah, and it's just like I remember like it's just like, you know, the moments like I don't remember a lot when I was like super young, but it's like those moments that stick out, right?
Yeah.
And I remember like when I was in middle school and I had this science teacher, And like, I remember we got into a debate. It was like the whole class against her. Like, she tried to argue us down about the DMV.
She wasn't from the DMV?
She said the DMV is Delaware, Maryland, Virginia. And I was like, no, the DMV is DC, Maryland, Virginia.
Right.
You're thinking of Delmarva.
Delaware, like,
it's literally
Delaware is a part of the DMV.
It's a whole separate thing. Like, it's Delmarva versus DMV. They're two different things. She was like, no.
Oh, they call it Delmarva.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And I was like, and she was like arguing us down, like literally like calling us dumb. And I'm like, you're a grown adult, right, for one. Two things can exist simultaneously.
Right.
Why don't you do some research where you tell us that we're wrong? Especially if we're telling you the Delmarva is something.
Right.
DMV is something else. Yeah, like it's... So I'm just like, it's one of those things where like the teacher like acts like... And she was also one of the people like, because she had an older kid. He was like good, smart with science, and like she would brag on him about certain stuff, like he does this and that. You guys need to be doing, like, I don't like the whole comparative type thing either, because they may excel in that, but somebody else might not be good at science, but they might be good at something artistically. Doesn't make them not a good student or whatever. Like, somebody might be doing the bare minimum in one subject but excelling in another. That's because that's their strong suit. But as long as they're doing was at least acceptable, then what's the issue with that?
Yeah,
like, I don't get that.
I think like highlighting too what their strengths are, because that can help their self-esteem. Like, oh, I'm not like dumb, or I'm not like incapable. Exactly. Like, you're strong as something. Exactly. Like, you are important. You can do things. You just need help in other areas.
Exactly.
So I try to like, and like for ourselves too. Like, I may not excel in like certain areas in my life, but others I do, and I am very like aware of that. Grace. Yes, you gotta give yourself grace. Just have to give yourself credit. Is what I'm learning too. It's like, that's where I like, girl, you are good at this. Yeah, right.
Yeah, because I'm like, again, it comes back to that humble likeness, like to a default. Like, I literally like, if people like I remember back in like college, you're like, oh, you're good at this, or like art, or like I'm good at doing hair. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm not like, I'm not about to like toot my own horn. Right. And it almost became so bad to the point, like, and when people do give me compliments, I don't accept them. Mm-hmm. And I think that's not good either. Like, to not accept compliments that other people give you. Mm-hmm. Because it's just like, why can't you accept this praise that other people are giving to you? Right. You're not being like cocky or conceited or anything. Like, just accept it.
You're just accepting a compliment.
Yeah, I'm like, why can't I do that? So I don't know. Like, I think that's just something I have to unlearn. Mm-hmm. To accept other people's praise or accept good things people say about me, but also to think that about myself too. Right. Because
it's all about your thoughts, and they have like your positive thoughts. Like, what you say, especially how you like treat yourself and what you say to yourself. I have learned that it's very, very important. And like, what you say to yourself, like, matters.
Yeah, that was one of the things I wanted to ask you. So like, I know you like we've talked about like self-talk and stuff, and like we talked about like affirmations, and like from our conversations, like I realized like, it's important to not only like think or like say stuff out loud, but to think it too. Right. Like, actively combating those negative thoughts, because it's like, it's inevitable. We're all gonna have like negative thoughts or put ourselves down, but like, you have to actively and intentionally combat that. So like, when you're having like those negative self-talk thoughts or whatever, like, how do you like make sure to combat that, I guess?
So I feel like the first step in like reading books and like listening to like other people speak has helped, because I didn't even like know I was doing that. Like, I did it kind of subconsciously.
You didn't realize you were...
I didn't realize I was like negative. Yeah. Okay. Like, because that's just what I do, like, or what I did.
So do you think you could pinpoint...
Now I fixed it.
So do you think you can pinpoint when you realize it started?
Yes.
When it started, the negative talk? Or do you think
like,
it's always
like in my life?
Yeah. Do you think...
I don't know. Maybe like my childhood with like the death of my parents. Like, one thing when you said like how you felt, like I just felt unworthy like for a very long time, which I'm like still working on. But it was like, why did this have to happen to me? Like something must be wrong with me, and it was something I had to like work through because it like really changed the way I looked at myself because of my life circumstances. So maybe that's when it started. I mean, we're old now, so I can't pinpoint. I mean, we got a couple decades. 2.
Girl, a couple decades.
2.5. We're up to 2.5.
Okay.
2 and a possible.
Alright, whatever.
Maybe that's when it started. Because like before that, I just remember like my childhood being fine, really. Like the good memories. Like I think after that it kind of like shifted. But I can definitely realize when I have negative self-talk. Like remember when I messed up my car?
Oh yeah.
I was so mean to myself. Like I was like, oh my God. Like now I'm like, I can't believe I said those things to myself. But it happened so quick. Like, why would you do this? Like, what were you thinking?
It's so easy to get into that negativity.
Easy. It was like, it like rolled off my tongue. And like, I was saying out loud because I was so upset. But then I was like, dang, Mary, you could not say that. Like, you have to give yourself grace. Like, it's okay. It's just a car. Like, you will be fine.
You're fine physically.
But now, like, I can definitely catch it. And I, like, combat it with, no. Like, if I say, like, oh, you're unworthy. Like, no, you are worthy. Like, you are loved. You are strong. You are great. I think saying those affirmations and, like, combating the negative self-talk will help.
So do you think that, like, cause you know, like it's easier said than done, right? So like, you're not, even if you say certain things, you might not necessarily believe it at the moment. Do you think that eventually you will believe it, or is it like you know, like some people might be like, oh, you're just saying that, but like you're not really believing it. You're just saying it, just say it. Like, do you think that is true? Like, you think?
I mean, I think you do have to like decide to believe it. I feel like when you make that change, like, I mean, we're not perfect. Those negative talks are going to come up. But I feel like you have to just keep saying it. And the more you say it, I feel like the more it'll come true. Kind of like speaking into existence, or like the power of manifestation. Like, you just have to keep saying it and keep saying it. And then over time, you'll think that. I mean, I've grown. Like, I used to just have negative self-talk to where, like, now if it comes up, I can combat it with a positive saying after I say it. And that hasn't even been like that long. So, like, imagine you saying it for 10 years, like, how you would feel.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be a big part in, like, how you view yourself. And I think the more, like, repetition, that has a big impact on how you think about things and how you act and, like, the habits that you create and stuff like that.
Right.
And I even saw, like, this video. It was Kendall Jenner. She was talking about like when she was in therapy, because she says she like suffers from like anxiety and stuff. And she was talking about how her therapist had told her to go like get like your old photo album and find like an old picture of yourself from when you were little, and take that and keep it somewhere where you'll see it all the time, or like put it on your phone. And I saw another one that they did the same thing. They put it as their lock screen. So with that, they would have that picture, and anytime they think of something negative about themselves, you have to look at that picture of your young self and be like, this is who you're talking about. Your younger self. Yeah.
Wow. That's
and I was
like a different perspective.
Yeah, because it's like, you don't want to be mean and say all these nasty things to this younger version of yourself.
Right.
Like, you want that younger version of yourself, you want to hype them up. You want, that's your inner child, basically.
Right.
Like, you want to make them feel better. You want to be nice to them, and in turn, they'll want you to be the best version of yourself, because that's who they're going to grow up into.
Right.
So I'm like,
I didn't think about that.
I'm going to do that. Like, I want to get like an old picture of myself, put it in my lock screen, because like, for real, like sometimes you really have to get outside of your head, and visualizing it will make a bigger impact if that's how you process things.
Right.
So I think that would be like a cool way to
I think that's a good strategy. Like, you're talking to little you. You can't say that to them.
Because, like, who's going to, like, I mean, unless you're just a bad person, like, who's going to be, like, saying all this mean stuff to a little kid?
Phone, like, scraping it to the phone.
Fuck you. Like, you ain't shit. Like, I don't, that's, like, so terrible.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So, do you feel like, so what about that statement, like when it comes to, like, self-love and stuff? People like, oh, if you don't love yourself, nobody's gonna love you. Do you think that's true?
Yeah, I think that's true.
Really? Why?
Because Like, you mean like in all relationships or just romantically or just
in
like
general.
from it? Because I feel like you are like at the center. Like you have to control like how you feel about yourself and not look for that like in other people, if that makes sense.
That's true.
Like I feel like you have to start within yourself. If you're not working on yourself, you're not happy, like why would you expect someone else? Not even romantic, like family or friends. Like why would I expect you to be nice to me if I'm not nice to me?
That's true.
Like why would I expect you to love me if I don't love myself?
Yeah.
And that kind of like sets the standard too. Like if I love myself, if I'm talking to myself,
I'm not gonna tolerate
I'm not gonna tolerate how you're treating me.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing.
I think that plays a part. I feel like that I agree with that, but at the same time I disagree a little bit with the statement.
Why?
Just because I feel like I mean, we've seen it multiple times where like somebody might not be in a good space, but they have somebody in their corner who's constantly supporting them, constantly treating them the way they deserve, or doing the nice things until they get back on their feet, right? So it's like, while maybe you shouldn't expect them to love you the way that you need or deserve to be loved, there are still people out there who can give you that love, regardless of what you do for them, regardless of how you're treating yourself, because they know they can see something in you that you don't even see in you.
I get that, but I feel like in order for like them to even communicate what they say in you, you have to see like a little glimmer of it. Because my thing is like, well, what if you say they are there to support you? Mm-hmm. Okay, I feel like they're there to support you for a season or like a time in your life. But what happens if they're not there anymore?
Well, that's like, what I'm saying. Like
you mean for like a day or a month, or
I'm saying
like
in the sense,
holistic, like
I'm saying in the sense of like, okay, because we're not perfect. We all go through phases in our life. Like right. Maybe like for us, so say like if I was good or whatever, then for some odd reason I fell into depression. I fell into just despair. Like I just wasn't in a good place. I didn't feel good about myself. I didn't feel good about my life, whatever. Mm-hmm. But you, as my friend, knowing the person I was, knowing the place that I am in now, and then knowing what I could be, you might still see that person that I can be, the person that I am to my core, regardless of what I'm going through. Yeah. And be there still to support me so I can get back to that place. Like you might be able to love me even if I don't love myself right now.
Keyword right now, but you did before.
Yeah, but
so you still have it in you.
Yeah, I mean,
to get back to that.
Yeah,
because like the song,
but then it's also like, I don't think anybody just starts out like, I don't love myself. It's like as a child, like even thinking from a child-parent relationship, that parent is gonna foster or create that mindset or help to create that mindset in that child.
Not every parent though.
But I'm saying in an ideal situation, they'd be the one to help that child to develop healthy patterns or healthy ways of thinking. Yeah. So
if that was a thing.
Yeah. So, but even if there is a negative, whatever, like the child nobody's born just negative. Nobody's born just a bad person. Right. Things happen to them to make them think a certain way. Right. So it's not their origin to be negative or not feel good about themselves, but it's something like it's a learned thing. So just like they're learn to be negative or learn to not love themselves, if they have somebody there that can support them, I feel like they can love them through whatever they're going through, regardless of if they.
I mean, I see your perspective. Yeah. I just think like you have to play some type of role, because think about what that person would like do to support you. Like they would try to help you like feel better about yourself. Yeah. Try to like boost your confidence up or like help you get out of depression. Yeah. Like they're not like saying, "Oh, you do this," and like it's like snap of a finger, like, "Oh, yep, I'm good."
Yeah, no. I'm just saying, like in a literal sense of like somebody can't love you unless you love yourself. I don't think that's necessarily true. Like I think they can still.
I think people can love you. Like I get what you're saying. People can love you and be there for you. I mean, there have been many times where I needed like extra love and support, and people have done that for me and like helped me come back to it. I just feel like the foundation is how you feel about yourself.
At the end of the day, you gotta. Even if you do have that support, like you said, if you're still not doing the work within yourself, right, you're kind of going to end up in the same spot, or you're not going to improve because you're not actually putting in the work to improve your own like outlook or your mindset or whatever, so that you can get to a better place. Right. So yeah, I think that does play a lot into that. when it comes to like self-image or self-esteem and like self-love, I know we've been going through like this era of like positivity and all this stuff, but like at the same time you do still see like the negative comments on people, and especially when it comes to like body image and stuff like that. Like, do you think that social media and like society as a whole has like impacted you in your young adult life?
Yeah. I had to delete it.
Yeah.
I told you I just got my TikTok. But I just feel like body image, for example, like if I work out girly, I love them. And like this culture where you're getting plastic surgery, and then it's kind of like, or you have these trainers, or you know, you have a lot of money, and like that's why it's working for you, is because you have extra support versus your average home girl just going to work, going to the gym.
Yeah.
Not saying that people don't do that, because they are very disciplined and they do it, but I feel like
they have extra support.
The looking at social media, looking at the images, like comparing, which I'm learning like not to compare yourself. That's like a big thing in my life right now. It's like stay in your lane. Like everybody else got their lane, you got to stay in yours, and that's really hard to like do. It's easier said than done. And I think social media does play a role, because, and I was thinking about this too, like I've looked at myself more in the mirror and like on my phone when I didn't have social media for this last week, if that makes sense. Like do
you think that was
my perception? I think it was a better thing.
Okay.
But my perception is like you're scrolling and looking at everybody else, and I was not making the time to like think about me, to like appreciate yourself. Yeah, appreciate me, because you're not looking at yourself. You're looking at everybody else in the world and what they got going on. So for me, it was like, okay, I took time to actually care about myself, pour into myself, and that helped with like my self-image and the way I felt about myself. Yeah. So yeah, I think social media does play a role. Yeah. Or like advertisements, what you see, even if you don't have social media, I feel like you're just seeing like the people in your life, or whether it's an ad for like a commercial or something like that. I think it plays a role. Yeah, because I feel like there's like so many different body types out there. And I remember like thinking younger, like, oh, this is like the standard, this is what it's supposed to be, this is like, if you're not skinny, then it's not right. Or if you don't have like the perfect shape or whatever. But it's like, there's so many different types of body shapes and different body types. And depending on what culture you're in, you might like this, you might like that. Like, and it's like, no matter what, you can't win. So why not just love whatever you are? Right. And it's just like, it's kind of sickening, because like now, especially like you have like the plastic surgery people, like even the ones who stereotypically have the like best body, like you go in their comments, there's people praising them, there's people saying, oh, why can't you have a natural body? Right. Then you go to somebody, you never win. Yeah, you go to somebody with a natural body, somebody has something to say. Exactly. Somebody always has something to say. So it's just like, you might as well just do you. And it's easier said than done, because you still have to accept your own flaws. But like when you really sit down and think about it, like what makes it a flaw? It's only a flaw because I chose for it to be. Yeah. Or you've seen that it's a flaw. Yeah, like other people. Like other people have attacked this, and you're like, oh, they're attacking that. Like I have that too, so that means they can attack me. Exactly. Yes. Like it's only a flaw because somebody else told you it was, or you told yourself it was. Right. And it doesn't have to be a flaw unless you make it a flaw. Because like I remember, like I used to never go out nowhere without my eyebrows being done, because my ends is thin. They feel them right now. But they're thin. And my eyebrows are not. Like they're supposed to get done, but I'm like, and like that was like such an insecurity, because I remember like, especially like, I feel like that was like high school, when it really started getting popular, girls doing makeup and doing their eyebrows and all that stuff. And I was just like, oh, like I cannot go out here without my eyebrows being done, because it's just gonna look crazy. Like it's just not cute and all that. And like as I've gotten older, like I'll be going out with my eyebrows not done, because like it is what it is. Like that's just my natural eyebrows. Who gonna check me? Right. Like who's gonna check me, boo? Like who's gonna check me? Like why spend all this time obsessing and stressing about, oh, my eyebrows, what can I do to fix them? What can I do to fix them? Instead of just being like, that's what they are. Right.
I'm still cute regardless.
Right. And I feel like, if you want to put effort into yourself, like do that before you do whatever. That's up to you.
Yeah,
but you shouldn't feel a type of way because it's not done.
Obligated. Yeah.
Right. Like, I can't go out if it's not done.
Yeah, and I feel like now I've gotten to that place where I'm like, dang, like I really wish my younger self didn't spend all that time stressing about that. Because I don't care about it now. I wish I had that much of not give a fuck about it.
Right.
Back then. Because it's just
I don't give a fuck.
Like, I'm finding, like, now as I've gotten older, like, some of the stuff, like, I still have some insecurities that I'm carrying with me now. I'm still dealing with now. Some new ones that came up. Some old ones that I'm still have. But, like, I'm finding more as I get older, like, some of the stuff that I used to have, I don't have the insecurity about them anymore.
That's good.
And I'm like so glad.
What do you think has like contributed to you not having those insecurities anymore?
I think part of it is my environment, because it's a very different environment when you're literally in school. You see the same people every day. You're going to class. You're around the same people. You're with younger, not emotionally intelligent or not empathetic people.
Mm-hmm.
Kids will be kids. Some of them are assholes. Yeah, some of them are literally assholes.
They could be mean.
Yeah, like literally point out stuff about you, like for no reason. And I feel like back then it was just like, oh, I don't want anybody to say anything. Like I don't want anybody pointing out stuff. And like being in that environment, like makes you kind of more self-conscious. Whereas a grown adult, like I don't have to interact with people as much. I don't have to. The people I do interact with are usually my friends or like grown adults.
Right.
So it's just like, I feel like adults, older people have more in their mind to be like, okay, is it really necessary to say something about something that might be considered a flaw?
Right.
They don't really do that.
I don't care about people's eyebrows. like looking.
Like I'm not about to point out
your eyebrows done.
Bro, because it's just like, that's one of the things that would blow me. Like, from elementary school, even up into like high school, like I always remember like people pointing out something, and I'm just like, I'm minding my business. Why are you telling me I have a pimple? Obviously, I see it. Like,
like I know.
Like, do you know you have a pimple? Do you know you got this? Like, why are you telling me this? Like, I see. I know. I look at my face every single day. You don't have to announce it to me. And it's just like, also, why? Why do you feel the need to tell me?
People just like to talk.
Like you're not saying like, oh, you got something to say. You got something in your teeth. Okay, I can fix that.
Right.
You think I can fix the pimple that's on my face?
Maybe then there you can.
No.
But I get what you're saying. It's like, okay, thank you for pointing it out, but I already knew. Like, what was your point?
Yeah. I'm just like,
I feel like people project their own like insecurities. Like,
yes.
Like they're like, oh, I wouldn't want acne or like a pimple, so I'm going to tell you about your pimple.
That's so backwards. That's so ass backwards to me. Because like for me, because I always noticed when people like point out stuff, I made it a point in myself to not point out stuff. Unless it's something they can literally fix. Like, oh, hey, you got spinach in your teeth. Get that out real quick. You got a booger. Get that booger. Like something that is like, subtle, discreet. I'm not going to point it out in the middle of people, like everybody, so everybody could stare at you and be like, oh yeah,
right, you got something.
No, but like, I don't know, people just don't think to say like, oh, maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe it's not that big a deal. Yeah. Maybe they've already noticed it and they don't want to bring attention to it.
Right. Yeah, I feel like my adult life, no one has really like done that. Unless I ask, like,
yeah,
is this like look weird, or like I ask about it, but now that we're adults, it's like it doesn't come up.
Yeah, I'm like, kids can be assholes. They can be assholes, and I feel like that's where a lot of, especially for girls, where a lot of insecurities stem.
Like being in school.
Yeah,
yeah,
because that young age is so easy to be influenced. Easy to be influenced, whether it's what you're actually doing or how you feel about yourself. Like you're always going to be comparing, oh, what is so and so doing? What are they wearing? What do they look like? How is their hair done? What kind of hair do they have? What kind of whatever? Like, and I feel like it applies to like all different types of people. Like, we all have like different social statuses, right? But it's still applied. Like, I'm sure like people who were like in the in crowd they might have like appeared to have everything all together, or like they had all the best clothes or whatever, but I'm sure they had their own insecurities too.
Right.
But it's just not as obvious to
everyone has them.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I'm like learning about the people that speak the most or like put themselves out there the most is like those are the ones that are really suffering, that have to do all that to make up for what's inside of them and how they feel about themselves.
Yeah.
Not everyone. Like, that was like a pretty generic statement, but it's like, why are you doing all this talking? Like, why are you judging all these people?
Yeah, it's just kind of like
take a look at yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your inner self.
Yeah, I feel like as we get older, we get that discernment of like being able to pick that out easily. Like, and especially now with like social media, so many people want to be trolls and say all these negative stuff. And I'm like,
I don't know how they have the time. Like, how do you have the time?
At all. And I'm just like,
how? I don't have the time to do my daily responsibilities. I don't have time to be having Twitter fingers on the social media.
Leaving all the comments.
And leaving negative comments. Like, I don't have the time.
Yes, because I be seeing like, especially like when creators starting to get big and stuff like that, like people always try to find a way to put them down. Like, oh, you're not all that, you're not all this. And I'm like, did they ever say they were all that? No. Did they say anything negative in the video? No. Like, but they still feel the need to put them down. And it's like 9 times out of 10, if those people get exposed, they be like the most
happy people.
Like, I don't get what the issue is. Like, sometimes I'm like, what is the point of leaving a negative comment? Because I'm like, every once in a while you might see a video and be like, I don't necessarily like that, or I don't agree with that. But it's like, to take that extra step to let them know why they...
Right, you should like keep your opinion to yourself.
Yeah, because it's not adding to the conversation. Right. They didn't ask for your opinion. They're just posting whatever they want to post.
Right.
They didn't say, "Oh, I'm posting this. Tell me what you think about it. Tell me if you like it." No.
Some people liked, but it doesn't look like.
Yeah, like and leave a comment.
Right. That's their comment. But they leave it.
But I think there's also a way to do it too, because some people, like, if they don't like something. Like, there's like
the dislike button.
Like, they can do a constructive criticism.
I know it's the dislike button.
Oh, where?
I think on YouTube.
Oh yeah, there is one on YouTube. Yeah, there is. But like, I feel like some people like they can leave constructive criticism.
Right, then, like, hey, I noticed this was off. Maybe try this.
Right, like especially like when people learn to do like makeup or something. Like,
right.
Like I posted a video. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I look like a pale dusty mouse.
Oh, when you want all the makeup.
Yes. Like, if people comment to be like, hey, that doesn't look good, but here's what you could do to fix it. Right. That's fine. But people are like, oh, you look dumb as hell. You look like a ghost.
Someone said that?
No.
Oh.
But I've had like negative comments on other stuff. Like, I think one video I did, that was when I had an undercut, and I was doing like a hair tutorial or something like that, and like I showed like the hair that was like cut off or something, like I was trimming the ends or something like that. And somebody commented like, your hair looks like pubic hair. And I'm like, what is the point?
What?
Yes, I'm like, what is
that?
Yes, I was like, what is the point?
What?
And I think I responded. I was like, you thought you ate with that one,
right?
Because like, what was your purpose?
Right.
Like, it's just like literally, what's your purpose?
You gotta leave the trolls trolling underneath the bridge. Leave them underneath the bridge.
No, for real, because I'm just like, what is your point of saying that? Like, ha ha ha.
Right.
Hilarious. You get...
Probably someone young and mature.
You get... Like, that's like... Remember that... I think it was like... Who was it? Gabrielle Union. She was talking about how, like, when she was younger, like, she used to be, like, a mean girl. And then she came to this realization, like, did you get the prize? Did you win anything from it? Like, what did you gain from this? What did you gain from being nasty and mean? Right. Nothing.
Right.
Like, you're not winning anything for it, but negativity. And that shit is going to circle right back to you because you're going to get it in some way, shape, or form.
Whatever. Yep. What goes around comes around.
Yeah. And I'm like, people literally just go out their way to be mean and nasty, put other people down. And I'm just like, you never know what somebody else is going through. You never know what they're dealing with. And sometimes, like, I got to catch myself, like, giving people the benefit of the doubt, like, if somebody's mean to me because they might be going through something. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to take that energy and give it back to them. Every once in a while, I do slip up.
Yeah, I was like, it's to an extent though, because
if it's like
at some point you gotta like check it.
Yeah, like
But if it's like little, like the pubic hair comment, like I I'll just okay.
Like, I don't even know you. I don't care.
Right, I don't care.
Like,
but
what?
It's like, some serious personal attack or like blinking at your face.
Yeah, like you have to like address,
say something, right? Certain things,
defend yourself.
Certain things.
Yeah, but sometimes it's like I'm not even gonna waste my energy on you.
It's better, bigger, and better.
Exactly.
To do and worry about.
Exactly. So it's just like, I don't know. It's just not worth it to put energy into something that's not going to benefit me. I think as you get older, you kind of realize that not everything requires a response.
Yeah, definitely.
And
like silence is a response.
Yeah.
You're saying, I'm not going to deal with this.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to get anything out of me.
Because you got to protect your peace. Because, like, you never know. If I was in like a fragile state, like that could have impacted me so much. Like, oh my god, my hair is like pubic hair. Like that. I just can't even.
It sounds funny. You're saying, oh my god, my
like,
hair.
Oh my god, I'm gonna cry. Like my hair is
That's probably
like
what they want.
Like, wow, I have tight coily hair. Yeah.
Right.
Black hair. Wow. Like, wow. Like that's.
I have never thought that. I didn't even see that.
It was one of my old videos.
Okay.
You can probably still find it. I'll show it to you later.
Oh god.
But yeah, I was
something to laugh at.
Yeah,
they ain't hurting nobody feelings.
It's sometimes you literally can't take yourself too seriously, and I think that also plays into like the self-love stuff. Like, sometimes you gotta laugh at yourself, not take yourself too serious. Like one time, I was like, any other time I would have been so mad, so pissed off. My whole day would have ruined. One time I was going to work, and I had some pants on with some like little like ponytail, like slingback heels. Pants was a little too long, so I like tried to fold them under like hem, and I was walking up the steps at work, and I tripped and bust my ass. I had my little glass container of my oatmeal. The shit broke.
It shattered.
Yes, I was like so embarrassed. Nobody was out there, but like I definitely bust my ass, and I was just like, "Oh my god!"
With the heels,
yes,
like or the pants. Which one?
So like my heel was like the ponytail heel, and when I stepped up, it caught the inside of the pants.
Oh, the pants.
And I tripped on it, so I'm like,
like you tripped down steps?
It was like 3 or 4, 5 steps.
Oh, okay.
But it wasn't like, I didn't trip down, I just fell flat. I was at the top of the steps at the time. I fell flat. And I was just like,
okay.
I bruised my knee. I was so upset.
Wait, that's what the bruise was?
No. It was like a little while ago.
Okay, something was on your leg. I think it's your thigh.
Oh yeah, I be getting bruised easily. But yeah, so I was like, any other day, like, I would have been like so embarrassed. Like, oh my god, somebody probably saw me. Like, I'm gonna be so upset. Like, this just ruined my whole day. Like, but I was like, oh my god, I like laughed at myself. I'm like, I'm such a klutz. Like, I'm so like, I was saying stuff like, but in yeah, like it's fun, like in a funny way, instead of like instantly like put myself down and like, oh, you're stupid, you're dumb, like, you know, just any negative thing. And it's just like, you gotta reframe it. Like, that's part of it. Reframing how you feel or how you respond or what you think about something or situation, even if it is unfortunate.
Right. Or it was an accident.
Yeah, it's not that
serious. I got back up.
Yeah.
But dust myself off.
Yeah.
No oatmeal. But no, you know, I'm mad about food.
Bro, I was so
can't waste food.
I was mad about the jar that it broke.
Yeah, you can't be mad.
Thing shattered.
But you're okay. It could have been worse.
Yeah, it could have been way worse. And I was just like, okay, it's not that serious.
Right.
Like, you just gotta laugh at yourself.
Right.
It's not that deep. It's like a journey that is kind of never ending.
Right.
Because I feel like you're always gonna have like your good days and bad days.
Yeah, and then I think like for people that are growing up or that like might see this too, is like it's not gonna end.
Yeah.
Like my thing with some people that do like podcasts, like they think they have it all together, or like it's like we don't have all the answers.
Not
like
at all.
We're growing, we're learning.
Bro, life becomes
and I still have stuff that I'm working on. Like I wouldn't say I'm all the way together. So yeah. It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
It's a journey, for sure.
Yeah. I feel like anybody who tells you, no matter what age they are, like that they got everything figured out and all together, they're probably lying.
They probably are.
Because like,
how do you have it all together?
You know, like that means you know the meaning of life. Like, you know the meaning of life. You got everything figured out. Like, and then there's a difference between being happy with your life and satisfied with where you're at, and just like saying like, oh, I have everything figured out, everything's good. Because like life happens, everything doesn't happen perfectly. to where everything's happy go lucky all the time. Like you're gonna have your good moments and your bad moments, but it's how you react to those, how you move forward, how you think about it, and how you treat yourself in those situations, giving yourself grace or pushing yourself to get out of those like bad habits or whatever you're doing. Because like we're not perfect and we're gonna go through different stuff, but it's just like, okay, how am I gonna learn from the past? How am I gonna learn from what I'm going through now? How am I gonna treat myself going forward?
Right. Especially if like this was to happen again. Like what would I do differently?
Because sometimes the lesson will repeat if you didn't get it the first time.
That is true.
And it's gonna keep repeating.
Going and keep going
until you get that lesson.
It'll come in different forms.
Exactly.
Different people.
Exactly. But yeah, so
you did the 29 days, or what day is it? 19. How's that been going?
So I'm being 100% honest. It went.
I said I was gonna do it with you, but I fell off. Like the second week, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, like the second week is when it like really fell off because I was like dealing with a lot of stuff with like family and like my grandfather and stuff. So I'll be 100% honest. I wasn't actively like trying to do something nice for myself or do something for myself all those days. I was just kind of giving myself grace and like giving myself time to grieve. Because sometimes I like try to like do too much to get my mind off of certain things instead of letting myself process stuff. So it was like it wasn't until like recently that I'm like, okay, let me get back into doing stuff that I want to do. Let me get into a space to where I'm like, I'm not like, I don't know, I'm not doing stuff like this to distract myself.
Right.
Because I don't want to
make it. But I think that is a part of like self-love. It's like letting yourself have those emotions.
Yeah.
And not suppressing them.
Yeah.
Like, to me, and my definition of self-love is like evolved, or self-care. Like I'm about to join this group with a couple people in my church, and someone had said like, oh, self-care to me is binge watching my show on the TV. Or some people might say self-care to them is going to the spa or like positive affirmations. So I feel, or like self-care might be you experiencing your emotions or having certain boundaries with things in your life. I feel like it's in different forms. Because at first I'm like, oh, I have to pamper myself. I have to take a bath. I have to go to the spa.
I gotta do my nails.
I gotta take care of myself. Like that's a part of it. That's what it means to you.
But that's not the end all.
How you talk, like the little things, how you talk to yourself, how you let other people treat you, what you allow to happen in your life, like what you allow in your circle. Like one thing my pastor talked about was proximity, which I thought was very interesting. So yeah, like I think those are all things as well. Yeah. That you can do to take better care of yourself.
Yeah, I think it's definitely very important. And like when I was thinking about like self-esteem, self-love, self-care, I was like, self-esteem is how you feel yourself, how you feel about yourself. Self-love is like the effort or intention that you put behind it. And then self-care is like the action. Okay. Like it's all intertwined because they kind of stack on top of each other. Right. Like you have to, in order to think a certain way about yourself, you have to try to do something about it and then do it.
Like I wonder, like it doesn't seem like they can coexist without the other. Like how do you have good self-esteem if you don't love yourself or if you don't take care of yourself? Exactly.
Like they literally have to intermingle and intertwine. Like they help each other to become better in a sense. But yeah, so like with like the self-care and self-love thing, like I guess for that to get 2 weeks in the middle of February, we
went out for sushi. It was really good.
That was really good. That time period was just me giving myself grace. So that I guess that was my self.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, because life is gonna life. Life be life and. And yeah, but I feel like coming back to these things and like having these things in mind is like important because when you do go through troubles and life circumstances, you have to come back.
Yeah, because like just because you maybe took a pause, it doesn't mean I can't get back into it. It doesn't mean I can't continue it beyond February. It doesn't mean I can't get back to doing what I was doing before or progressing or moving forward. Yeah. I just took a break and it's okay. Like I can start again.
Right. One thing that I used to beat myself up is like if I didn't achieve something. So I had the calendar on my phone and I was like, I'm gonna do this with Jada. And then I fell off and I didn't like treat myself badly. It was kind of like, it is what it is. Like, just know that you're starting to incorporate that into your life. It doesn't have to be every single day for a month.
Yeah.
Like, the end goal is more of it in my life.
Like, improve yourself 1% more every single day. Yeah.
So, like, those things become habits and not necessarily, I got to mark this off that I did this every day and then stop at the end of February. Yeah. Like, that's not
not realistic. You want it to be a lifestyle change, not just like a quick little diet or fad.
A fad.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like outside of that, like, I still try to, like, give myself grace with things, try to do stuff that brings me joy. Because sometimes, like, you get in the places where it's like, things are, like, not great, or you're dwelling on all the bad things that might be happening, but not appreciating, like,
what I can do.
Yeah, like, you gotta appreciate, like, the good things that are going on. Like, I was upset because I had to pay, like, almost $1,000 to get my car fixed.
Did you get it fixed?
Yeah, I got it fixed.
Okay, good.
I was so mad. I was like, oh my God, this is so expensive. And there's still more stuff that I could have gotten done. But I was like, we'll just wait on those because I can wait on them. But I was just, like, so mad. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I found myself getting in a place like, I gotta pay that much. Like, adulting is so ghetto. Like, I don't want to do this. But then I was like, let's think about this. I'm grateful that I could even afford to get it done and pay for it.
And pay for it.
Like, that I can fix it. Because I could be in a space where I got this work that needs to be done, but I can't afford it. But then I won't have a car.
Right.
And it won't be like...
You won't be able to, like, get back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one.
So I was just like, okay, reframe.
Thing someone helped me understand recently is, like, because I was saying all the negative things. And he was like, no, you need to look at the positives. So I just list out the positives of my day each morning. I try to.
That's good, though.
I have so many blessings. And, you know, it's easy to focus. Right.
Just
it's easy to focus on the negative. Like, I don't have this, or I don't have this yet, or this person has this and I don't. But, like, I also have a lot of blessings.
Yeah, you're
that I can say
better than somebody else.
Right.
Like, there's always somebody doing better than you.
Right.
But you still need
and there's always somebody, like, that works off of that.
Exactly.
Like, doesn't have as many blessings.
Exactly.
Like, by the time you have them. Exactly. So that's what I try to think about when I get in those headspaces. It's like, yeah, you might be upset right now, but, like, you don't have it that hard.
Yeah. And I think also it's important to, like you said, like, let yourself, like, be in those emotions. Because sometimes you get in such a toxic positivity where it's like, oh, I'm not going to let myself be upset. I'm not going to let myself do this. I'm going to just jump right to the positivity. You kind of ignore the negative feelings and emotions, but those are real. And you have to process those. Yeah, you have to process it and, like, allow yourself to feel it, but just don't stay stuck in it. Right. Like, I think the better you get at it.
Like to understand that. It's like, you can feel that way. Just move on.
Yeah.
Like, at a certain point.
Yeah. Like, it's like, allow yourself to feel it, process it, and then move on. And, like, hopefully the more you do it, the better you get at it with being able to move out of that state quicker. But don't just shut yourself down and say, oh, I'm not going to face these negative feelings at all. Because that's just not going to help. It's just going to keep coming up.
Like, to pretend they don't exist. Like, they exist.
It's going to keep coming up. So I think that's important too. I feel like with the self-esteem thing, like, I'm definitely going to do the little picture thing because I think that's helpful. The self-talk, I think, is important. And I also do listen to podcasts too. I've been doing that more lately because I go in once a week. So, like, when I drive to work, I'll listen to, like, what is it? Balanced Black Girl is one of them that I listen to. It's a Black girl who talks about, like, all the different aspects of life and stuff. I listen to this manifesting podcast. It's like Manifesting Bestie. I listened to the Psychology of Your 20s. So that one's talking about, like, young adults and, like, how they deal with stuff. And I did listen to a few episodes of, you know, that guy Tariq Ali or something like that. He's, like, popular on Twitter, but he had, like, a little podcast where he would, like, talk to his friends and have, like, in-depth conversations and stuff like that. Listening to podcasts and, like, other people talk about stuff could be helpful, too, to kind of challenge your thinking.
But you got to be careful who you listen to.
Yes.
Because there are certain podcasts out there.
Yes. And I don't listen to those weird ones.
Yeah.
I listen to the ones that's like, okay.
People really listen to this? Or like,
yeah.
No.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I guess to each his own what you deal with and what you decide to listen to.
I feel like you gotta do like the discernment. Like it's just like
right.
Is
like,
this
what is this about even?
Like, is this even improving life or is it just entertainment? Is it something that's really applicable or are they just trolling? Like
just trolling.
Yeah, so it's like you gotta discern that. And I feel like the podcasts
what works for you, they're not all bad.
Yeah.
Have some good ones.
Like there's some that I'm like, okay, this is just entertainment. I'm just gonna take it for what it is. I'm not gonna read into like too deep into it.
I haven't seen them lately, which I'm so thankful for. The men versus women debates. I'm tired. God, I have not seen those.
Away. They just
I haven't seen them in a while,
bro. I saw this one,
but it was one. I'm like, what? Like the roles and like what they look for. I'm like, what? I have not seen them
at
in
this
months.
point. I'm just like, everybody, just do what you want. Find somebody who agrees with you, and y'all do that. Don't say that your theory applies to everyone, and that's how it's supposed to be.
Right.
No.
That's what they do. They sit up and talk about, oh,
it's supposed to be
no. You're supposed to do that.
No, find you somebody who agrees with what you want, and you do the same.
You only.
Yeah. Don't apply that to everyone because that's just annoying. Like I don't. That's dumb. But yeah.
Okay.
I feel like that was pretty good.
Yeah, I think we had a successful talk.
Yeah.
I learned some things. Mm-hmm. Definitely gonna do the picture thing.
Yeah.
I just my brother sent me a picture.
Of you?
Like recently of me, a young me, yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Like life was so good. That was a little.
No, for real. I feel like life was so
life
simple.
Happened.
Life was so simple, and it's just like
I was like, wow.
Really? Yeah. But yeah, so that was it, you guys. Yeah, so next time we'll have another guest, a new topic, and yeah, we'll talk about it. So
thank you for having me.
Of course, thank you for coming on.
Of course.
So be sure to tune in. Be sure to tune in into the next podcast and like, subscribe, share, whatever, repost.
Do not do the thumbs down.
Yeah, thumbs up. But yeah, thank you guys. Bye.
Okay. I look like bright for real. At that time, we were in the dorm.
Oh, and we could not stop laughing because the guy, he was just like him. Oh my god.
Bruce was like, "Are y'all okay?"
Right?
We would stop, and then the other person would like snicker, and we would just like lose it. I was like, "Oh my gosh, please get me out of here!"
Because it made it worse because we were not supposed to be laughing.
Right?
It was like dead silent.
It was dead silent. Everybody was focused.
It's hilarious.
My like cheeks hurt that day.
Oh my god, I have not laughed that hard in a while, bro. That was hilarious.